What are the 7 major speaking industries and how can they benefit you? Well, I'm welcome to another session of Walking with Randy, where we talk about writing, speaking, coaching, marketing, and sometimes marriage. Today we're talking about speaking, and we're talking about these 7 major speaking industries and how can knowing about these benefit you. Well, I want to acknowledge that Grant Baldwin, professional speaker. Now, in past episodes, you have noticed that I have a particular desire to help bivocational ministers. And many of them would like to have as their second job something that would give them flexibility of time and yet would give them additional income where they can do the regular ministries. However, I'm glad to help anyone who wants to replace their job or anyone who wants to have some additional income. And so one of the ways of doing that is to write a book and then do multiple streams of income spinning off of that book. Well, let's talk about these 7 different industries. The first one is corporations. Now, corporations often are large and they offer training and ongoing education for their companies and their employees and even their managers and supervisors. Well, they have industry events. They sometimes have company retreats. But one of the things about corporations is they often have good-sized speaker budgets. The downside to it is they often are very specific about what topics they want the speaker to speak about. So breaking in can be very difficult, and since the budgets are large, breaking in is also very competitive in this industry. But once in, it can be a steady source of income. Well, the second one is associations. So we have corporations and now associations. Association example could be the American Psychological Association. Some bivocational ministers have training in counseling, and that is their second job. And if it gives them the flexibility of time that they need, then they might be just where they need to be. But in other areas where they have this background, this credential in psychology as well as in ministry, then they may be well suited to speak at something like the American Psychological Association. Another example would be it just shut off on me. Another example would be the Future Farmers of America. And, or as I mentioned in a previous video, there is the International Association of Christian Coaches. This would be examples of associations. Sometimes they have large conferences, but they often have many local chapters. And so that's a place, if you get started at speaking at some of the local chapters, you may have ongoing invitations. Well, the third one would be faith-based organizations. Now, when I talk about my bivocational minister friends, well, that just is right down our alley, isn't it? And there's a downside to it for us. One of the upsides is that it's something that we know a whole lot about and is quite compatible with us. And some of I think we're reconnected. Okay, the flip side is that there are many events that are available in faith-based organizations. Now, as ministers, if you're a bivocational minister, and this is part of your speaking opportunity, you are typically not used to having a designated fee to put out there, especially for a faith-based group. A couple of advantages, though. And even if you're not a bivocational minister, but you're wanting to break into the speaking business, these are good places to practice. And another thing is, you may often have the opportunity to offer your books for sale after the event. They could be at the back of the room. And so you could even speak for free and still do well. I know of a couple of events that I've gone to, and I sold 9 books. Well, that was pretty good for the local, where it was what you might call a free event. Sometimes they do have a budget. And I'm going to go into the next one, and that is nonprofits. Nonprofits. Now, some of your faith-based organizations would be nonprofits, but there are others, such as local groups, civic groups, Rotary clubs, chambers of commerce, organizations like that. I don't know, maybe Lions clubs, but they're nonprofit organizations that do well for others. The fifth one is the government and military. Now, the military often has trainings at their bases for the service people, but they also have support services for families. And so some of the faith-based things that we have may be beneficial whenever it comes to helping families in certain areas. Well, they have large budgets. All right, I think we're back here. Okay, so government and military. Then we've talked about corporations, associations, faith-based organizations, nonprofits, government, and military. Now we'll move into 2 aspects of educational institutions. The first one would be colleges and universities. And it might be difficult to break into that on the large scale, but colleges and universities often have local groups or clubs on campus that bring in speakers. It might be fraternities or sororities, or even in some cases faith-based clubs, such Association of Christian Athletes, certain things like that. Colleges and universities, and they do often have budgets for bringing in speakers. Well, let's go to the 7th one. That's in the educational area too, but it is in for K through 12 speaking. Now, with the pandemic, this is not typical right at the moment, but whenever things return to normal, or if they're what they usually have been in the past, they may have speakers coming in for back-to-school events. They have general assemblies throughout the year. They often bring in speakers to speak to their teachers and to their parents. So we have these 6. You have corporations, associations, faith-based organizations, nonprofits, government and military, colleges and universities, and K through 12 schools. Now, which fits you the best? If you're writing a book, you probably can figure out which one of these most closely relates to your book. That would be one way of doing it. Another one would be in the area of your experience. Which one of these matches your experience the best? And another one would be in your interest. Maybe you have just done a tremendous amount of self-study in a particular interest that would match one of these categories. Well, how will this help you? Well, it will help you to narrow down what you think your prospective audience would be like. When you're writing a book, and if you go to a publisher, they will ask you who you're writing that book for. And they don't like it when you say everyone. They want you to narrow it down to a particular person. If you have someone that's teaching you how to speak, they will do the same thing. They encourage you to figure out. Okay, try to reconnect, and I think we're back. So, which fits you? Now, how will this help you? Well, as I said, it will help narrow down your audience. If you pick one, it gives you a place to start trying to find speaking events in those particular industries. And it matches your previous experience and what you know about. Well, this is Speaking Tuesday. If you'd like more tips like these on writing, speaking, coaching, marketing, or marriage, go to randysblogs.com. I would suggest you subscribe to my YouTube channel. And if you like this, please click the like button. Hope you've enjoyed another day of Walking with Randy. Until next time, have a great day.